Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So the movie Rust starring Alec Baldwin has had a litany of issues already, most of which was the shooting and killing of the cinematographer Halyna Hutchins by Alec Baldwin during one of the scenes. A few people are responsible for that incident. Alec Baldwin himself, who fired the weapon. Then you've got the assistant director, Dave Halls, who brought him the gun and told him it was a cold gun. And then you've got the armorer, Hannah Reed, who is responsible for these weapons on set and making sure they are safe and secure. Now, another one of the issues in the days leading up to that incident, a few of the crew members actually walked off the set citing gun safety issues. So there's definitely no shortage of blame to go around with this incident and this whole set and this movie. This one is going to be a more of a deeper look at the people who are involved in that main incident, namely Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer. Then you got Dave Halls and what happened with Alec Baldwin when he was handed that gun. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this one out and let's take a look. So starting off on the Hollywood Reporter. So the warrant says Alec Baldwin was not aware the weapon contained live rounds before shooting. So the assistant director also did not know the prop gun used on the set of Rust was loaded with live rounds according to documents. So if the assistant director, who we'll see picked up the gun and handed it to him, didn't know that the prop gun was loaded with a live ammo, that means it's up to the armorer, who is Hannah Gutierrez Reed. She's the armorer. So if Alec Baldwin was told it's a cold gun and the assistant director, Dave Halls, didn't know it was loaded, according to these claims, then that would fall on Hannah Reed. So an assistant director unwittingly handed Alec Baldwin a loaded weapon and told him it was safe to use in the moments before the actor fatally shot a cinematographer and injured the director on the set of Rust, court records released Friday's show. So what was said? Cold gun, the assistant director announced, according to a search warrant filed in a Santa Fe court. Instead, the gun was loaded with live rounds, and when Baldwin pulled the trigger Thursday on the set of The Western, cinematographer Halyna Hutchins was struck and killed, law officials said. Director Joel Souza, who was standing behind her, was also wounded. So the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office obtained the warrant Friday so investigators could document the scene at the Bonanza Creek Ranch outside Santa Fe where the shooting took place. They sought Baldwin's bloodstained costume from the film as evidence, as well as the weapon that was fired, other prop guns and ammunition, and any footage that might exist. Because they might have been filming this shot at the time. They most likely were. They probably have footage of that. According to the records, the gun was one of 3 that the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez, had set on a cart outside the wooden structure where a scene was being acted. Assistant director Dave Halls grabbed the gun from the cart and brought it inside the Baldwin, unaware that it was loaded with live rounds, a detective wrote in the search warrant application. The film's script supervisor, Mamie Mitchell, said she was standing next to Hutchins when the shooting occurred. So she said she ran out and called 911 and said, "Bring everybody, send everybody." So earlier in the day, Baldwin described the killing as a tragic accident. It's unclear how many rounds were fired, and there was little information released about the weapon. In the days leading up to the prop gun shooting, the film's crew members had complained about work conditions, and some were replaced with non-union workers, a source close to production told CHR. What were those issues? In a statement, Rust Movie Productions LLC said, "The safety of our cast and crew is top priority. Though we were not made aware of any official complaints concerning weapon or prop safety on set, we will be conducting an internal review of our procedures while production is shut down." So they were worried about gun safety on the set days before this incident occurred. And then they go into firearm incidents on Hollywood sets are extremely rare but do occur. So in 1993, Brandon Lee, the son of famed martial arts star Bruce Lee, was accidentally shot and killed on the set of The Crow by another actor who fired a revolver that had been improperly prepared. There's a breakdown of the whole scene and what happened. Negligence in this case, because the head armorer went home and they just had one of the prop department people look over it and they actually didn't follow protocols and check the weapon before it was fired. And that's why Brandon Lee died. But The Crow also had a sequel, which the same assistant director, Dave Halls, now I know it's not the same movie and it was years later, but it's just an unfortunate coincidence. The year 2000, The Crow's Salvation came out and he was the first assistant director of the second unit on that movie. So that's the assistant director who gave Alec Baldwin the gun, who it says in court documents, they said that he didn't know that the gun was loaded. So he unwittingly handed. So he didn't know it was loaded. So that's Dave Halls, the assistant director. That's the first one. It's interesting that if you go onto the IMDb's of these movies, there we go. Art department, Hannah Gutierrez, armorer. See, she's done The Old Way, which is going to be a Nicolas Cage Western. And now it's interesting that she's not actually named as being in Nicolas Cage's next movie called Butcher's Crossing, because in some clips we're we're going to hear, she speaks about how she's going to be working as a co-armorer on Butcher's Crossing, which is the next movie that Nicolas Cage is just working on right now. And she doesn't appear on that one now. Her father is Thel Reed, who is one of the most famous armorers and gun coaches for all these westerns and action movies throughout Hollywood for years now. Look, back in 1993, did Tombstone, the original, and look at how many movies he has been an armorer or a weapons specialist or a gun coach. And especially in Django Unchained. You see what happens here? Django Unchained, it says quick draw expert. In a podcast that Hannah did just over a month ago, she was talking about quick draw and how to teach actors how to quick draw. So maybe I'm just going to go on speculation. It is a possibility that the scene involved a quick draw, and when Alec Baldwin tried to pull the gun out, do a quick draw, it could have fired, because especially with what she says, with actors who are less knowledgeable about firearms, there could be incidents.
The actor comes to you to draw a firearm from your armory. How do you instruct them? What do you tell them?
If they're quick drawn, I try to teach them how my dad taught me, just to make it nice and smooth. Well, you have to show them how to do the whole trigger thing. They're just usually all like, and you have to pull back the hammer every time. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you got to do. Hold it straight, make it look like they're aiming at something. And also you have to teach them about the recoil, because these blanks don't really have regular pushback that regular bullets do. So I always try to, in order to make it look more realistic, tell the actors to create a little bit of recoil with their wrist.
That's just a speculation that it could have been a quick draw scene. So this is her father's resume. Unhinged, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Good Girls, Water Diviner, Cowboys and Aliens. Is a legend in Hollywood with guns. And so she's grown up around the sets with him, studying how to be an armorer in Hollywood. This is where they say, a lot of reports say that it's inexperienced armorer. Yes, this was her second movie. So she did The Old Way, which I just showed you, which was the Nicolas Cage one. So she's done The Old Way and another one. So a production source described her to the Daily Beast as inexperienced and green. So they also placed blame on the first assistant director, identified in the affidavit as Dave Halls. Yep, he's supposed to be our last line of defense and he failed us, the production source added. Wow. He's the last person that's supposed to look at that firearm. So the first person you need is Hannah, the armorer. She should have everything right. Then you got the assistant director, should be checking it before he gives it to Alec Baldwin for the scene. And then you should have Alec Baldwin checking the gun on his own to make sure everything's going to be right. Because not only is he an actor in this scene, in this movie, he's also the producer. So he's now liable along with Dave Halls and Hannah Gutierrez. This is an image of the cast and crew on the set. That's from Halyna Hutchins' own Instagram. Now, if you look over here, this is actually Hannah Gutierrez with the green hair. That's your armorer. Now, if we look at this, who is Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer on set with Alec Baldwin? This is from HITC. They go through a list of who it is and what she's done, listed as the armorer on the call sheet during filming. Now, despite necessary safety requirements, the armorer set 3 prop guns on the cart outside the filming location, which we've already talked about. So the armorer was given the prop gun and then removed the spent casing, the cartridges that have been fired from the weapon, before giving it to police. Now, it says here, is active on various social media platforms with a creative lifestyle outside work. So one of those platforms is Instagram, which is right here, and it's a private account, 77 followers and 6 posts. And she has an article here from Deadline about the movie back in May 2020, about the movie casting Alec Baldwin. But if we go to her Twitter, what they have tagged there, the account doesn't exist anymore. And then they also have her TikTok, and the account doesn't exist anymore. So she scrubbed her TikTok and her Twitter. See, video currently available. It doesn't exist anymore, her TikTok. So Thel Reed is an exhibition shooter, which is her dad, specializing in quick draw, and a consultant to the movie industry as a veteran armorer, stuntman, and extra. As someone who's grown up like that, around someone like that who's been around guns their whole life and teaching actors and making sure it's all proper on set, you would think that she knew what to do on the set. Now we're going to listen to some clips from this podcast that came out a month ago.
Originally, I had planned on working with cameras, or I really like lighting too. I wanted to do DP work, but I kind of just tried it with Dad one time, and then I noticed I had a really natural knack for it growing up around guns my whole life. So now I've come to realize, I'm like, oh my God, like this is a pretty sweet gig.
So she says she had a knack for it.
How good are you?
Getting really pretty good at quick draw. My dad's been teaching me, so I'm getting pretty fast. And you know, when your dad like looks at you and he like makes a face and he's like, that was pretty fast. Like, you know, you're getting fast.
See, so I just showed you in Django Unchained, he was a quick draw expert that was teaching him on set, and she's saying she's getting pretty good at quick draws. So I'm thinking maybe this was what happened in this scene. Let's continue. The next one is about how armorers and props experts usually branch out and move out to different weapons, not just guns.
Well,
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna perfect this a little more, and then I'll start branching out to other stuff. I'm still pretty young, you know. I got time to do it.
And then she wants to talk about how her female perspective can give a better insight, a different view on armoring in the industry.
I love doing what I do, and I like bringing like a fresh female perspective into it too.
Now, this is when she talks about going into the next movie for Nicolas Cage.
They contacted me about being an assistant to this armor, you know, and I commented back and I was like, you know, I might be okay with being a co-armor with this armor. So I think I'm going to be co-armoring with Jerry Horn Baker on the next Nick Cage movie up here called Butcher's Crossing, and that's a buffalo hunting movie.
So that might look like it's not happening anymore after this incident has occurred. On a lot of the mainstream articles are picking up on her saying she wasn't sure if she was ready. But listening to this, she said she wasn't sure if she was ready to do it. I almost didn't take the job because I wasn't sure if I was ready, but doing it, it went really smoothly. So she said it all went off well in that first Nick Cage movie, The Old Way. This next one is about what she wants to be in Hollywood.
Do you just want to be the best armorer, male or female, period there is?
I don't do anything unless I'm the best at it, really.
Well, clearly you're not.
Yeah, I'm very competitive, and I hope to grow to the point where I'm pretty much just an untouchable person that has all the knowledge of everything.
All the experience you get is always, there's no bad experience, it's just bad.
It's learning from experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that, and I do like working with the little girls and everything on set, and I like teaching them about guns. And I think the best part about my job is just showing people who are normally kind of freaked out by guns how safe they can be and how they're not really problematic unless put in the wrong hands.
How safe they can be and how they're not really problematic unless they're put in the wrong hands. Well, unfortunately, someone is dead now because of you.
It's a tool. That's all it is.
Yeah,
There's
so
no
for me,
bad
a lot of
guns,
it
there's
is
just bad
creep.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of it for me is just being able to show the world, like, you know, guns are awesome.
You failed big on this one, and someone's dead now. So that's the latest there from what I could gather from all the news that I've seen about this shooting on Rust, this absolute negligence of duty on the set of Rust that caused cinematographer Halyna Hutchins to be killed by Alec Baldwin. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this one out, and I'll see you in the next one.